Hey everyone, welcome back to the How to Be a Poser Beginner series. In this short video, I'm going to be showcasing a few simple tools that you might find useful for your own collection. Let's get started. Okay everybody, these are the tools that I'm bringing to the table today. There are legitimately countless tools that you might want to bring to your own collection to use for various reasons, each one of them no more or less useful than any other. For our purposes today, we're going to be using scissors to demonstrate how you might want to use them to remove like little frayed threads, stray threads that might be protruding from the costume. In addition, we're going to be talking about how you can use tweezers to manipulate hard to reach elements in, say, the fabric of the costume, for instance. Furthermore, we're going to address the cleaning needs of the figure, and for that purpose, I've brought a couple of different brushes. Some are finer, some are thicker for cleaning like larger parts of a figure or getting deeper into crevices that this brush wouldn't be able to manage. Also, we're going to talk about the applications of tape and the ability to use it to remove, say, dust, lint, and whatnot. All right, so let's get started with showing you how you can do all that. Okay everyone, we have our trusty rusty Deadpool here, and we're going to start with Deadpool by taking care of this wayward thread up at the top. For that, we're going to use these fantastic little tiny scissors. These are very, very inexpensive. You should have no trouble tracking down something like this. And just give this thing a quick snip, obviously. And then that leaves just a little bit of a snippet there that you can just kind of tuck back down in. And just make it as innocuous as possible. Yeah. And that's about as close as it's going to get. So that's taken care of there. All right, next on the agenda is the tweezers. I've gotten so much use out of having a pair of tweezers, and I actually have gotten to the point where I have a variety of them. I have a pair like these at home, and I also have a pair that just doesn't even have the little grips there. It just comes to a really, really sharp point that I use for other things. You can also get tweezers that are just completely blunt. Like they have these oblong pieces on the end that you can use to grasp. So there's no sharp edges, no threat of actually tearing any fabric or damaging the plastic or rubber pieces in any way. And just by way of example, to illustrate, just to try to illustrate what you might be able to use these with, let's just imagine that you had a figure that you had to replace the van braces on. And in so doing, you slid that, as you were sliding the van braces onto the arm, for whatever reason, because the van braces were too tight, let's say they pushed the fabric of the suit up too high. So what you would do then is you would bring the tweezers into play and then just kind of, you wouldn't even need to pinch. You could just kind of push them together and then just shove the fabric down into the van brace. Like so. Another thing that you might want to use it for is, I'm going to go ahead and replace this fist here just so that the van brace doesn't fall off. But let's just say, let's go back here to the back of Deadpool's head, and let's just say that you've done a pose with Deadpool and you've posed his head in such a way that, let's say this neck, the lining of his neck here has ridden down, and then you can see how there's just that unsightly gap there. Rather than, you might obviously be able to take the head off and pull it up with your fingers, but if you didn't want to do that, you could also use the tweezers to just gently grab that fabric and pull it up and then tuck it back into the head and then move that head down over it before finishing the job, like so. There, easy. So that's a solid application of tweezers. Right. Okay, brushes. I have an assortment of these at home. These are just two that I happen to be carrying around with me today. I have much larger sizes, like say an inch wide. I find them at various makeup stores. Makeup brushes work really, really well. You can see that this actually has been used fairly recently to clean some stuff. But you want to just use these to just like knock stray bits of lint and or dust off of Deadpool. Or in this case, a stray piece of red thread. All right. The smaller brushes you might be able to use to reach those hard to reach places. Like if you got a buildup of dust inside these pouches here, then you can use these tiny brushes to reach in and just knock that stuff loose. A lot of people will try to use canned air, compressed air, but sometimes that dust is in there so tightly that that canned air doesn't do a lot of good. If this doesn't do the job itself, at the very least, it will enable you to knock that dust loose enough so that maybe the canned air can finish the job. Those are a couple uses for brushes. Now, a much bigger soldier to bring into battle here is your garden variety tape. Now in this instance, I'm using double-sided tape. And I'm using it basically to pull lint off of the suit. Now this figure's new and it's clean, but you're seeing, basically I'm just pantomiming what I'd be doing with an older figure that had been sitting on a shelf for so long that it accumulated dust, lint, pet hair, any of that. This would help you to eliminate that from the equation. And obviously, you know how this works. One other tool that I would also highly recommend everybody get would be a pair of white cotton or perhaps nylon or latex gloves. The reason for that would be is if you have any characters in your 6-scale collection that have a glossy type of material, let's say a metallic finish like a shiny suit of armor or a glossy black helmet, if anybody comes to mind, you might be concerned then that you're going to wind up leaving fingerprints all over the figure. Gloves would enable you to prevent that from happening before it became a problem. If you don't have access to those, and if you've already handled your figure in such a way that it's already left fingerprints all over it, you might want to consider getting like a lens cleaning type cloth or a microfiber cloth that you can use to just wipe those fingerprints away. That, coupled with everything that I have here, is probably the finest tools that I would recommend that you have in your 6-scale figure collection, just to make sure that everything is kept safe and that you don't inadvertently cause any damage or dirty up your figure.
All right, that concludes our How to Be a Poser Beginner series. If you have any tips or tricks or suggestions that you feel might benefit a beginner's 6-scale figure collector, please feel free to include them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.
Hey, did you like that video? Be sure to subscribe by clicking the S icon on your screen and click that bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is posted. If you'd like more info on the items featured in this video, click the link provided under Product Info. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to let your geek side show.